When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat.
Those are the first and second things you would do as president of the United States. Now, of course, that was Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley going after online anonymity as if it is the most important issue to tackle in our rapidly declining country. Apparently, Haley doesn't care about the freedom of expression either, because a lot of people feel unsafe expressing their views online, knowing that if their views are controversial, their employer might retaliate against them. So look, I get that there are issues with online anonymity, I really do. But I also get why there are good things about online anonymity. Now, with that said, statements critical of Israel apparently enraged her a few weeks ago, and that is what's motivating her here. She posted the following on X, formerly known as Twitter, or this might have been Instagram. Either way, she posted this on social media. You can't fight anti-Semitism if you can't define it. Joe Biden and the left refuse to call anti-Zionism anti-Semitism. As president, I will change the official federal definition of anti-Semitism to include anything, or to include denying Israel's right to exist. And I will put schools tax exemption status, or pull, I should say. I will pull schools tax exemption status if they do not combat anti-Semitism in all of its forms in accordance with federal law. College campuses are allowed to have free speech, or are you not merciful? But they are not free to spread hate that supports terrorism. Federal law requires schools to combat anti-Semitism. We will give this law teeth and we will enforce it. The United States of America will not use taxpayer dollars to fund anti-Semitism, period. It is interesting how the party of free speech that specifically went after college campuses for protesting conservative speakers is now going after college campuses for supporting speech that they don't like. But I guess I'm not surprised at the hypocritical nature of all of this. I also want to just be clear about something. I'm not supportive of anti-Semitic rhetoric whatsoever. However, I'm also fully aware that the anti-Semites are being lumped together with people who just want peace in that region and do not agree with the retaliatory acts of brutality that have been carried out by the Israeli government against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip, namely the innocent civilians who are being brutalized as we speak. So lumping those two groups together has been a very common tactic by people who want to shut down any criticism of Israel. And Nikki Haley falls in that category of people who like to conflate. So I just want to give you that context so you understand the issue that I have here. There are some people speaking out against Nikki Haley and what she's trying to do here, including Charlie Kirk, who says Nikki Haley says every person on social media should be verified by name for the sake of national security. Nice try, Nikki. Anonymous speech is a core part of free speech, which the founders would know since many of them, including Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, wrote anonymously. Elon Musk agreed, saying super messed up. She can stop pretending to run for president now. That is, all right, rare win by Elon Musk, I did enjoy that. Glenn Greenwald jumps in and says, is Nikki Haley aware that the Federalist Papers were written by founding fathers using pseudonyms? Nikki Haley may be one of the most warmongering and authoritarian candidates for president in some time. She's completely unhinged. This is blatantly unconstitutional. And of course, I mean, like, look, Vivek Ramaswamy is gonna get in on the action as well. He loves engaging in these dunk fests against Nikki Haley. They despise each other. So he says Nikki Haley is openly pushing for the government to use private tech companies to censor speech. This is a flagrant violation of the Constitution and straight out of the Democrats' playbook. Any politician who thinks it's okay for the government to use the private sector as its censorship bureau shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the White House. And perhaps in response to all of this, all of that blowback, Nikki Haley did walk back her comments a little bit today. So let's take a look at that.
We need our social media companies to verify everybody so that we can get all of those.
So you're not really saying that people can't tweet anonymous. I mean, but that's bad enough, because you see what it's doing to our kids and bullying and everything else.
Do I think life would be more civil if we were able to do that? Yes, it's the same reason why I think doxing, like, you should stand by what you say. But no, like, if you can have anonymous, I don't mind anonymous American people having free speech. Okay. What I don't like is anonymous Russians and Chinese and Iranians having free speech.
So look, before I go to you, Waz, I think it's really important to be fair here, because Nikki Haley, yes, she's a Republican, but I don't want anyone to make the mistake of thinking that there aren't efforts among Democrats to silence any criticism toward Israel and what's currently happening right now. Because Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, who couldn't be bothered to do a damn thing about repeat offenders sucker punching elderly women on the streets of New York City, is now looking to monitor social media and reach out to anyone who says anything that she deems anti-Semitic. So let's take a look at that.
Also, we're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts, what's being said on social media platforms. And we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about on online platforms. Our media analysis, our social media analysis unit has ramped up its monitoring of sites to catch incitement to violence, direct threats to others. And all of this is in response to our desire, our strong commitment to ensure that not only do New Yorkers be safe, but they also feel safe.
New Yorkers haven't felt safe in a long time, and they've been expressing that. They've been expressing it when it comes to the subways. They've been expressing it when it comes to assaults in the middle of the day on the streets of New York City. But nothing was done in regard to that. But if you're saying anything that she doesn't like and will interpret as inciting violence on social media, don't worry, it's being surveilled and they'll do something about it. It reminds me of the Patriot Act, everything that occurred after 9/11. It is amazing to me, it really is. Like, actual violence that gets carried out, totally ignored. Concerns that there might be violence because people are upset over what Israel is carrying out in Gaza. We need to monitor that. We need to pore over the surveillance and reach out to the people that might be a problem. Anyway, Waz, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I just think it's crazy the casual/cavalier nature with which she describes this as surveillance. Like, this is nuts. This is authoritarian regime talk we're using here. And as far as Nikki Haley, I just want folks to understand, when these people talk, there are certain tells. The fact that she lumped in China, Iran, and Russia together in that statement of people that she doesn't think should be able to post, citizens of countries she doesn't think should be able to post anonymously, you know she's part of that neocon, psycho, hawkish wing of the government.
Definitely.
Because those people, they absolutely want us to start a cold and hot war in the Middle East with Iran, and in Asia, specifically Taiwan with China. And of course, obviously, they've already got it going in the Ukraine with Russia. They want to start hot and cold wars with those nations, and they lump them together as if they're like this one block that, sort of moves in concert with one another, when they are not. These countries are not like part of some clique with, North Korea being another, like, it's not the case. But what wing of government and foreign policy wing these people come from when they do that. And Nikki Haley is a sicko who would lead us into all kinds of disastrous wars.
100%. But let's also keep it real. There is a very good chance that the war going on in Gaza right now could spread to a regional war
100%
with Lebanon. I mean, Netanyahu's been itching for war with Iran. I mean, itching for the United States to go to war with Iran. Let's be clear about that.
Yes.
Okay, itching for the men and women of our armed services to risk their lives in a war with Iran. So let's not get it twisted, because Biden is providing cover for that right now as we speak. And so, sure, Nikki Haley absolutely is a neocon, and she is proudly a neocon. I mean, she brags about it on the debate stage. She brags about it in press interviews, as you just saw. But the Democrats do it in a much more sneaky way, where they pretend like they're peace-loving, but their actions prove otherwise. So we gotta call a spade, we gotta call it how we see it. And this era of surveillance and this effort to squash any expression, any speech that is critical of Israel right now, I think is incredibly disgusting and authoritarian. I don't like anti-Semitism, but believe it or not, I know a lot of people are just unfamiliar with the First Amendment, even though they throw around First Amendment arguments left and right. Hate speech is protected by the Constitution. Hate speech is not unconstitutional. It is protected by the First Amendment. I don't like hate speech. Inciting violence, not protected. Defamation, not protected. Anything that could actually harm people physically, any speech that could lead to physical harm toward people, not protected. But as much as we hate it, people engaging in a protest where they say horrible anti-Semitic things, that is protected speech. And the idea that those rights should be taken away because it's speech that Nikki Haley or Kathy Hochul don't like is real rich. Because again, when it comes to actual acts of violence, especially in places like New York, Kathy Hochul is nowhere to be seen. It's just amazing to me what the priorities are. And I think it's abundantly clear in this segment based on the comments that we hear, not just from the right, but also from the left.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us, become a young Turk.